Hey everybody, it's Barry. I wanted to hop in here at the beginning of the episode before we get going to mention a couple of things. The first thing is that I totally whiffed last week on saying that I was going to share a link to a veterans charity organization, a way to donate to Veterans Affairs. And so I have done that for this week's episode, and it will be included as well for the foreseeable future, just because why the heck not? There's no reason not to have that included in some way, shape, or form. So it is for the Heart and Armor Foundation. I know that a lot of folks tend to lean towards doing something with Wounded Warriors and some more high-profile names, but Heart and Armor was actually started by musician John Mayer. So surprise, surprise there, but I figured that it was another great way for people to give back, and there's a lot of literature there about what the causes that they're trying to support are, and it's not just trying to support veterans post war via monetary and food needs. It's also mental health, which is of course a huge thing that we are advocates for here on the podcast. So that link is in the description below, heartandarmorfoundation.org. And I think that's how it goes. It's just heartandarmor.org. I apologize. But that's down below. Also, if you are not yet a part of the Patreon, now is a great time to actually hop on there, because we are in the middle of our pre-sale for the Wilderness Trail pick that we did in conjunction with the Nashville Bourbon Society. And there are about 200 bottles that we're trying to get through, and about half of those are supposed to go to our 10-bit folks. This was a pick that we asked the store to allow us to do, not the other way around. And so it is hugely important for us to kind of show up and show out here, and not just help our 10-bit fam, but also to help out the Nashville Bourbon Society and show people that we are capable of doing something like this, because Nashville Bourbon Society has been great to us, and we really appreciate all the work that Adam and Jay and all those folks down there have done to help us get our first 2 official podcast picks out and about to people. So please, if you're not on the Patreon yet, that is where you get your first crack at it. And I would love to see our half sell out. Anyway, that's it for me on the little prelude here. This is a really fun episode. I think you guys are going to just enjoy the heck out of it. There's a huge surprise that happens about midway through, and Eric and I are still kind of reeling from it. So enjoy this week's episode. Bye. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. With me, as he always is the co-host. It's Eric, the Whiskey Mutant Smith.
Guess who? I'm back. Waiting on Perry to bring me the good news. Get yourself over here.
I should have known that was what you were going to go with, but I'm really happy that that left my brain enough for it to be funny to me again.
I was just waiting on you to bring me back over.
I haven't seen Perry in a few days. Where are you?
Where you been?
And that's been us doing Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy for a solid 20 seconds. Hey, if you are new and this is your first time listening, thank you so much for being here. If you are returning, hope you're well. Thank you for coming back. If you have not yet, please subscribe to the podcast on your podcast app of choice. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. We got a new one this week that we're going to be reading out. What else? Bourbonshop.threadless.com. Go check out all of our apparel and merchandise. And patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. Sorry, I'm distracted because I have a package sitting in front of me.
A nice package over there.
It's
got a nice package.
It's wide and thin. Does that make sense? Wide and long?
Some package.
All right. It's a UPS package. And we haven't done any like live unboxings on the show, maybe ever. But
This is like what my kids watch on YouTube. Unboxing.
and I think I know what this is, but you don't have any idea what I'm about to.
I'm waiting right now.
out.
I'm getting excited about this package
So-
over here.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Stop it. Dude,
that? What
it's
is it?
cold too.
What?
So this is
It's a beer or an energy drink.
This is the newest Brooklyn Black Ops Stout that is aged in 4 Roses small batch bourbon barrels.
Oh.
It's cold too. Should we save it or do you want to drink it?
Are we going to do something over that other beer? We're going to do the...
Yeah, we'll do 2 episodes together of that.
Yeah, we put that one there with
Yeah. I'm really excited for this.
Nice.
I just got confirmation like 2 days ago that we were going to get this. And so that was a pretty quick turnaround. Holy crap. 12.4% ABV.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Everybody's going to be taking a nap.
Nap time juice right there.
But thank you to Brooklyn Black Ops. Thanks 4 Roses for sending that to us.
Black Ops,
Pumped.
Brooklyn.
We've gotten 2 beers that have been 4 Roses aged
This is my beer podcast.
recently. So we're going to have to do a little stout, little bourbon ale.
I haven't had a stout in a while. I've been all over those.
It's been a minute.
I've been all over those smoothies and slushies and sours. So
For me, the last time I did, I fell asleep. I like a midday nap.
dude, those things get you.
Man, I'm so excited for this. It's a good looking can,
Yeah,
too.
dude, it's slick.
It's got this like vintage kind of look. Like it kind of reminds me of, and I mean, why this is where my brain went, but those like, like the Colt 45 packaging kind of almost.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Looking forward to trying that. But you have a pairing for us this week for Sips and Snacks.
I do. So here's this.
Is it the handy?
This is the handy.
Boy, packages and handies this week.
You get it all this week in this episode.
Is Patreon going to get most of this? Probably. Is the main episode going to get all of this? Probably.
So we'll talk about this more a little later. But this past weekend, I got to visit the Beaumont Inn.
Ooh, I know what this is now. This is exciting.
And I got to do a little tasting, and I met some people. And this snack is from my new friend John Passer and his wife, who were in the tasting with me. And afterwards, found out that I do the pairings and the snacks and all that. So he was like, "We got something that you need to pair." I was like, "Okay, this is awesome. Just met you, and now you're giving me snacks." So they ran up to their room and brought out this box of milk chocolate orange sticks from Sweets. And it's basically a chocolate, like a chocolate stick with orange like jelly inside of it. And when I had this, I was like, oh my gosh, I need that 2021 Thomas Handy.
Dude, it's perfect. I just tried it. That is absolutely perfect.
That's amazing. And they're probably listening now because I made sure to send them the link and hopefully they subscribe. So John and your wife, I appreciate you for the snacks, and I'm telling you, this 2021 Thomas H. Handy and these milk chocolate orange sticks are a match made in pairing heaven.
I will say the snack itself is a little weird. I wasn't ready for the
jelly.
The jelly inside. It's good.
But man, when you add the rye to it, it like brings out more of the orange. Because I think when we did the review, I think I said chocolate and orange, so that's why I immediately was like, I have to pair this with the handy.
And you texted me earlier, and you're like, "Do we have any of the handy left?" I was like, "Well, yeah. What do you think I'm doing?" I mean, to be fair, there was a night where I blended all 4 of them together.
I know what you did one time. You blended them all together.
Yeah, but that was a one-time thing.
But I couldn't remember how much we actually drank when we reviewed them. Oh, man. That was really good. So,
Look at us over here pairing BTAC with.
hey, go big or go home. You know, I struggle with that sometimes. I like to do the pairings, and I want people to be able to try them, but sometimes I know I can get a little out of control with maybe some limited bottle I got a chance to try or a sample somebody sent me. But man, when it just hits you in the head, you got to do it. Like, if you got the chance, you just got to do it. So I apologize. Yes, maybe.
That's fine. People get over it.
It's so good.
You know what I say to them? Get over it.
You know what? You know, they can live this pairing through me and me and you right now, okay?
Yeah.
It's good.
So
it's a great pairing.
Yeah. If you want to try this pairing, we don't have much left, though. So.
Yeah, no, don't. I might just finish that myself.
You've got, look at that. we got half an ounce, maybe.
Hey, save it. We'll use it for something.
That's hysterical. Eric Smith, what have you been drinking recently?
What have I been drinking? Well, as mentioned before, I was at the Beaumont this past weekend, and it was mine and April's 14th anniversary. So I got to pat myself on the back for this one. I did a good job this time. You know, I didn't tell April really anything because it's just been busy, kids stuff, everything going on. So we didn't really have a chance to like go far. And I was like, I got to figure out something to do. So I booked us the weekend at the Beaumont Inn in Harrodsburg, Kentucky. And I'd actually never stayed there. I'd been to the tavern in the past for like dinner or something, but I've not actually, like I didn't get a chance to go to Whiskey Weekend when it was there and stuff like that. So it was a new experience for me. I did not realize the amount of historical things inside, like how everything's like original, and like they were so nice to just let us like roam around. It was like we just did like a self-tour of just like looking at everything. And my wife is a huge history buff. Like she just reads stuff like that all the time. So it just blew her mind when we got there. And I couldn't have asked for a better reaction from her, because in my head, I knew that I got to go see Dixon later. Like that was my thing. Yeah. But she was just all about the history of the Beaumont and how, I mean, it's just like going back in time when you go there. So it was amazing. So I was lucky enough to email Dixon or message him and ask if I could get in on one of his tastings. And just so happened he had one that day and he had enough room. So I got to do a tasting with Dixon. And let me tell you, doing a tasting with Dixon is just like an experience like no other. Because it wasn't really about just sitting there picking out like these, you know, detailed notes and like, what are you getting on the nose? And like, he's not about that. He taught me and everybody else there about, it was more about feel. Like, how does this feel? You know, learning, you know, what you feel on the front of your tongue, what do you feel on the sides, what do you feel on the finish? And it was just so nice to sit back and just watch Dixon go through this tasting, because there were people there that had never done a tasting before. There were a couple of people who were bourbon nerds like us. So it wasn't just a bunch of people geeking out about it. It was people really there learning, people who have never drank any of this stuff, including my wife. April loves to smell bourbon. She loves old fashions and stuff like that. But I don't know, other than like maybe a little sample at like a distillery tour, that I'd have actually seen her drink neat whiskey.
That's so cool.
And so in my head, I was like,
that was a win.
Well, at first, I was like, oh, I get double samples because I'm going to just drink hers. And before I know it, I don't know. I think Dixon, just the way he's up there, his presence just like took over the room, and like she was like just staring at him, and I was like, what? I mean, yes, girl, he's a beautiful man here. Okay.
Please don't let this be more than what it is on the surface.
But she was into it because she was like, I don't want to like sit here and try to find these notes. But she was getting all like, when we tried Weller Foolproof. She was tasting the sweetness on the front. And, when we had like a higher rye bourbon, she was getting the rye finish on the end. So that was just, having Dixon up there and going through this tasting of bottles was just amazing. And it's not like I didn't expect to go in there and be trying all like Pappies and stuff like that. It wasn't about that. He just took it. He picked 5 bottles and he just took you on like his own like little personal tour of how he tastes and how he blends and what he looks for and all that. So I got to try a Weller Foolproof pick that he not the one he picked for the Beaumont, but the one he helped us store in another state pick. Another Russell's Reserve that he got to help pick. I got to he had like
every time that Dixon picks a Russell's barrel, it is the most magical thing in the entire world.
It was so good. He had Nog Creek 15 in there, which I'd had, but once again, when you put it in that lineup with stuff, it's a completely different experience. He started out with one of the Bardstown, I think it was Fusion. That was kind of like the warm-up. And, man, I had not had Kentucky Owl Batch 9 in a while. Because I've been drinking on the 10 that you have here. Kentucky Owl Batch 9.
Yeah, he's been doing bottle chugs.
Kentucky Owl Batch 9.
I think it's it's better than 10.
Oh, I have to agree it's better than 10. Like I said, it'd been a while, but after having 10 a few times, that thing is damn near a perfect bourbon.
Yeah.
I would
agree.
pay full price for every bottle right now if somebody had Batch 9. So that was the lineup, and I gotta say, after the tasting, almost turned into another tasting. A couple of people left, and I had a sample that I wanted to give Dixon to do whiskey in the box with. So we was waiting around, we're all talking, and Dixon being Dixon just is like, y'all want to drink some more stuff? And I was like, yeah. So there was just a few of us there. And he was, I kid you not, man, the most generous person ever.
I know.
And just so laid back. Somebody brought a bottle from New York. It wasn't the greatest. But we all tried it, and Dixon told him what he thought about it. And then we moved on. He had a Wilderness Trail rye pick that his friends had sent him. He popped it right there. We got to try it. And it was just... we just sit there and hung out with Dixon for a little while. Now, I'm not saying that every time you go do a tasting with Dixon that's going to happen. But luckily, he had some time, and he took time to take pictures with people, took their questions, and shared more stuff with them. The most generous thing. So, one other thing that cracked me up was I was the snack cake guy at this tasting. And Dixon introduced me as the snack cake guy because... he was talking about Whiskey Weekend, and he was telling everybody about how he was doing this event, and like he was talking about serious like distilleries things and what he was going to be doing after he left Kentucky Owl. And he turns around and he points at me and he goes, and then this guy, the first question I get after I went through this whole spiel was, what? Oh, Dixon, what's your favorite snack cake? And so we got to laugh a little bit about me talking about snack cakes instead of like, serious like bourbon stuff and all that. And he thoroughly enjoyed that.
That's like when he was on a panel with Fred Minnick. Do you remember this? He talked about it on an episode.
Yeah.
And the entire time Fred was kind of ignoring him for the most part, but he always kind of had this little wry smile on, and every time he kind of looked over at Dixon, and then he finally got to Dixon and asked him a question, and he goes, Dixon, when was the last time you smoked weed? It's that same kind of energy, you know? But
so
anyway.
So all throughout the tasting, I was referred to as snack cake guy.
So we just got an email from West 6th that Snake Cake is getting released next week.
Snake Cake?
Do you know about it? It's one of their like special release.
I've heard a little bit.
Bourbon barrel aged beers.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do a Snake Cake and Snack Cake.
Oh heck yes.
Pairing.
Yes. Please.
I'm pretty excited.
I
for
love that name
but-
too.
Oh, I do too. But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
To interrupt, but I never leave the Beaumont Inn, whether it's having stayed there or having just gone for dinner or just going to see Dixon.
Yeah.
I never leave there not feeling like I have just had the best experience possible in that moment.
It was amazing. And like I said before, April being like this history person, after it, she was telling Dixon like how much she loved the inn because of the history. And he was like, well, let me show you this stuff. So then he goes and starts showing her all this stuff. Like, you know, when the girls would try to see if they had like a real diamond, they would etch their name on the windows of things. And he was like, here, I'll show you where they etched their names. Like, it was just stuff like that. I could never tell him how much I'm grateful for how generous he was to me and April that day by going out of his way to show us stuff or give us a pour of something that wasn't part of the tasting. So I truly had one of the most amazing times just hanging out with him. And I met some new friends. John, I can't remember where they were from. Then there was a guy, David. He was from Minnesota, I believe. They were really nice. I saw them later in the inn. We were just sitting on there by the fireplace. Like we had a couple bottles we were sharing with everybody. But it was awesome. It was just such a fun time. I couldn't recommend anytime you have a chance to book a night and book a tasting with Dixon. I would do it.
I can't say much more than that, honestly. I mean, I've said my piece about Dixon as well, and how much I just love him as a person and love going and experiencing that place through so many different lenses and being able to share everything about what the Beaumont Inn is. It just is so special. And if you are in Kentucky, if you're in the Lexington area, make the time to take that extra hour drive out to the Beaumont.
And the food is
Food's
amazing.
phenomenal.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, we didn't even get to talk about the food.
No, I didn't even talk about the food. The breakfast and the dinner at the tavern. Oh, top notch.
Yeah.
Oh, and somebody was like, do you know Grease? I was like, yeah. So I FaceTimed him, and Grease literally danced around with no shirt on for these people. I got somebody who's a fan of you, and you know what he does? He takes his shirt off and he dances around on a FaceTime call.
The most Grease response
the greasiest
ever.
thing
That is so
ever.
funny.
So that was funny.
I'll go kind of quickly through. I don't have a whole lot of new things that I've been drinking on recently, but I do have this exceptional Knob Creek pick that I have now bought multiple bottles of.
We just opened the second
from
one.
Yeah, sure, second.
Oh, was that not the second one? Oh my, Perry and his Knob Creek.
This one in particular has just blown me away, but it's from our buddies over at Jackson's Wine and Spirits here in Lexington. The area of town that they are located in is sketchy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right across the the road from generally where my neighborhood is, but you can immediately tell that the poverty line just tanks once you get over there. But really, really great store. I have not had a bad pick from them yet. And this is just another one in the list of being just stellar. And I think it just goes to show that Knob Creek is just doing great single barrels right now. Mm-hmm. So, Eric, we got a review this week. It's a big old review. It's one that we are just so friggin' excited to get into.
Man, one of my favorites.
This was provided to us by none other than Mr. Tony Bag of Donuts.
Tony.
Hey, Tony! Bag of Donuts! Hey, thank you very much. He is one of our patrons, and also just a good friend of the show. I got to meet Tony last weekend in Louisville. He was in for Chad and Sarah's meetup. It's Bourbon Nights meetup. Had some samples to drop off to him, and he gave us a couple samples to drink on
I'm
as
all
well.
about samples.
One of them is a Russell's pick from Benny's. That's 8 years, 6 months. And the other one is E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof from 2021.
Lucky.
This is kind of like us rounding out some of the LEs this year that we didn't get to try.
It's been a hard year around here.
It's been a tough LE year in general. You finished that bad boy right up.
Yeah. I like these blue sample bottles.
I do too. They look slick. They're different. If everybody could color code their sample bottles that they give us or send us from here on out so I know exactly who they belong to, that would be great.
Listen, each Taylor Barrel Proof is one of my all-time favorite bourbons. And I've got one the last 3 years. And I don't feel like I'm going to be as lucky this year. So, Tony, thank you so much.
You. This is an important one, I feel like, for us, especially as we are moving into considering what our best bourbons of the year are.
Yes.
So I'm gonna classify this as George T. Stagg, not George T. Stagg.
Not George T. Stagg.
Not George T. Stagg, but not.
Not.
Yeah.
Not.
Why'd you throw not with a K in there?
Well, I was looking at this Knob Creek over here, and I kind of it got me all confused.
That's understandable.
You saw it in my eyes. I was confused.
I did. I lost you for a solid 2 seconds.
Yeah,
there.
I was just saying not over and over. This smells so good.
It's oaky. It's tobacco-y. It's got a big old punch to it, man.
Oh. It's like cherry cigar. And not like some cheap thing. I'm talking about just like you're smoking a cigar in like a room with like cherries around you. And you're in a rick house.
Yes, please come to my house and see my cherry room.
Oh yeah. That's H. Taylor right there. What's the age usually on barrel proof?
I think it's like about 8 years.
8 to 9 or something like that.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say 8 to 10 or 8 to 12.
It smells so good. It's always so good.
Little bit of like a vanilla extract in there too.
I kind of get a little bit of vanilla Coke, like Coca-Cola. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of cola in there, and it's like a vanilla soda or vanilla pop. Oh yeah, there it is. I gotta take a moment.
Hold on.
What are you searching for over there?
I think this might have just dethroned my bourbon of the year.
Oh my gosh, I got to get one of these. Oh my gosh, that's one of the coats. It coats the sides and the back of your tongue, and just lets you know that this is what bourbon is supposed to be. It's intense. It's great. I have a little bit.
I didn't even pour a half ounce for myself.
All the notes that I got on the nose kind of reflect right on the palate. It's like this vanilla cherry Coke, but there's this like tobacco.
It's also got this milk chocolatiness to it. And not like, okay, I phrased that wrong. I didn't mean milk chocolate. I meant chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. Okay.
It is kind of chocolate milky, which I'm not hating. And I don't love chocolate milk, but like in this context, it is so dang good.
It really is like your favorite snack drinks, if that makes sense. Like you get hold on.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
All right, I fixed it. Yeah, it reminds me of just like soda and like sugary drink and like you said, like a really rich milk chocolate. And I can't. I just have to get one of these. And like I said, like, I think they're starting to trickle out around here, and
Just barely.
I have no idea if I'm going to be able to get one. But having it right now, it's magic.
How do you feel having it right next to the Russell's 13?
Oh, man. It hits all the right spots a little bit harder than the Russells. You know what I mean? Like, both are good. But that E.H. Taylor is just like, it's taking, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
I was not anticipating to have something this late in the game that was going to just dethrone the Russells.
It's phenomenal.
It's
This is the AJ
so
Styles
good.
of this year, the phenomenal one.
The AJ Styles.
I mean, all these notes are just like, they're so like bright and hot. Like, it's not like a little bit of vanilla. It's not like a little bit of chocolate. It's like, here you go. It just hits your taste buds like a freaking hammer. Like Angel's just taking, flavor hammers and just smashing it right on your taste buds. If that makes any sense.
The Angels share.
Yeah.
The Angels sent this share back.
Oh God. They said this is meant to be on Earth.
This is too good for us.
Too good for us.
This belongs with the people.
And I ain't even lying. This is a freaking little just sample of it. I don't even have the bottle, and I'm just like,
if I had the bottle, I would not have the bottle for very long.
I'd have to lock it up if I wanted to save
I would
any
too.
of it.
I would too.
What's the proof?
127.3.
127.3. This is dangerous. And the finish, oh my
The
gosh.
finish is just infinite. It just
doesn't stop.
does not stop. It's too legit to quit.
It's so good, I'm mad about it almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I shouldn't like this as much as I do. But we were talking about this before we started recording. And it's like, if there's like a subtitle or I guess a sub headline for this episode, I don't know, it would be like our problems with limited edition bottles in 2021. And the thing is, like, I hate that I can't get this bottle. I hate how difficult it is to get Stag right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not Stag Jr. See what I did? I corrected myself because they changed the dumb name to something that's going to convince everybody. Get a letter. Buffalo Trace gets this weird letter. It says, like, to Daddy or to Buffalo Trace. No return address, but it's written in, like, crayon. Is this the new Perry Russell? It's
Oh. That's a good one.
Stag Jr. has defected from the family and is now his own. Oh, that's funny. Anyway. But I just feel like this was the year that limited edition bottles, exclusive bottles, whatever, officially just kind of became a thing of the past.
Man, it's been so discouraging to the point where I look at, like, if people post like a bottle, I'm always like, I'm looking at their location. I'm like, if they like tag their location or like where, what part of the state, and I'm just like, man, how do all these people get this stuff? And it's like all around us. Like, all these limited bottles are all around us. They're just floating around all around us. And it's like, here where we're at, like, maybe we just are not talking to the right people, but I don't feel like we get that much.
We don't.
I talked to the store I go to, and they didn't hardly get anything compared to what they normally get. It's just been a crazy year for limited stuff.
And I think that that's why when we talk about what have we been drinking recently, it's almost consistently store picks.
Picks.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I've almost changed the way I think about what I'm trying to find anymore.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm not so bent out of shape as I think I'm making myself out to be about not having LEs, because I have been of the mindset for a while that if I have a really good pick, I am perfectly happy. But it is just still frustrating that the Kentucky market is so dry. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But I just wish that it's like they overcorrected. You know what I mean? Like we were supposed to have like enough for them to kind of share it out to everybody.
I want all of it for myself.
But it's not even that. Like I'm happy with, Washington getting enough to satisfy their market.
Yeah.
But when it just feels like when they were doing the paperwork, two people said, well, that guy's going to take care of it, or the other person's going to take care of it, in terms of like keeping enough stock back for the Kentucky market. And when they came back together, they were like, I thought you were going to do it. Oops. And then they just moved on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and I'm not even trying to be like, oh, woe is me and everything. But like, it's true. Kentucky doesn't really have anything that people expect us to have. You have a better chance of finding products like Weller Antique if you go out of state.
Yeah. It's just, I think,
how many times can we talk about this?
Know.
But
we say it over and over. It's just that it's just those things where it's like, you almost, for the past couple of years, it's like, this is my fault. It's like I got used to like,
yeah,
knowing like, oh, I can't wait to get the new E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. I can't wait to get the new Master's King. And now, hell, I don't know if I'm going to get any of them. Like, we're not seeing hardly anything.
I think that's enough of our little complaining about it.
Yes, I'm going back to the positive of this review, which is...
This is a great whiskey.
So fucking good right now. I just bleeped myself out. So good, because I wanted you to know. Man, if you can get it, it's a buy all day. Are we going to give it an actual score?
Yeah, we are.
All right.
Nose.
I mean, 4.5.
4.5. Absolutely.
I was going to say,
absolutely. It's
missing,
almost
perfect.
It's missing just a little teeny tiny little sliver of like, maybe a brightness.
Yeah.
Like it's got everything it needs, but it's just not there all the way.
It's almost like I've had stuff that I immediately like just know that this is like it, and like this one is like it made me think just a little bit about it. So there was just that one bright note that really wasn't there that usually like gets me going. But yeah, 4.5.
Look, I got to be honest with you. This is one of the best bourbons I've tasted in a long time.
I mean,
the age is there. The proof helps this significantly. I think it is the most well-rounded thing that I've had this entire year. And I know that I said that about Russell's, but this has absolutely knocked Russell's back at least one spot.
Four and a half.
5.
Oh, damn. You went there. I'm almost at a 5. I think
Eric, this is edging very close to my favorite bourbon I've ever had.
Oh, my.
The finish that does not quit.
Oh, finish 5. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Finish is 100% a 5. I feel like I'm stuttering because of how I can't quite grasp how much I love this. Like my brain's not comprehending what my mouth is experiencing. And so it's trying to like kick me back and like make me go, think a little bit more about this. But I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is almost a perfect bourbon.
Yeah.
That nose just needs a little bit more. It just needs a little bit more. What's the retail price on this? 65?
So these retail for, I think normally they would be like 60 to 80. Hold on.
I feel like it's $64.99. I would buy a case of it if it was at that price at retail.
Hold on. Yo, this one's saying $69.99. This one says $79.99. So anywhere between that. I mean, that's a 5. If you get it a normal price, I would pay $200, $250 for this easy right now. Right now. It's a 5. It's a 19 for me.
It's a 19.5.
I mean, this is out of control.
I'm
having a moment right now.
I really am. We are. I'm like just stunned.
I mean, this is like when Goku first went Super Saiyan. When I first saw that. Like
I'm even drooling a little bit from it.
It took me back to a time where I'm just sitting there like reliving a moment over and over. This
is like a game-changing piece of time for us.
Out of control.
Wow.
There's nothing less than a sample bottle. I was trying to.
I like. Yeah. Part of me is like, I don't feel like I should be drinking this. Well, you know what I mean? It's just like that good.
I've got to
find a bottle now. This. I like. All right. Here, I'm going to paint a picture for everybody of what I just witnessed. There was a single drop left in the sample bottle that Eric poured into his Glencairn. And then, because it was not getting to his mouth quickly enough, he extended his tongue into the Glencairn so that he could lap up.
I did.
The drop of each Taylor Barrel Proof. It was one of the funniest things I've seen in a very long time. That was beautiful, my friend.
Like it's simply just.
I mean,
amazing.
like I know that like at this point we're kind of showing our hand, but man, this is the best bourbon that's come out this year.
I won't disagree.
I mean, heck on it,
dude. That beats all the BTACs. I know I had Eagle Rare 17 up there for a while in my head as my top.
I mean, I think that one's still top 10 for me.
No, it's top, but I'm saying like that E.H. Taylor
there's no competition.
BTAC level.
No competition between them.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we had to lose Stag this year to make this E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof as good as it
Bring it.
I don't care.
See ya.
Yeah.
Boy, bye. That's where the Stag Jr. went. He just said, boy, bye. He's gone. He's just Stag
crying.
Now. He's crying. He's like, he's Taylor killed me. Oh, I'm just Stag now.
Do you feel like you don't even know what to say at this point?
I really don't.
Because I don't either.
We should just go to tips and bits right now.
I feel like if I say anything else, it's just going to detract
repeating
from...
myself over and over. Is what I'm doing.
I am too. All right.
2021 E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
Wait until our final official list that comes out. But
yeah.
If something dethrones this, it's going to be like a 25 out of 20.
Yeah. All M's to 11 out of 10.
Oh, tips and bits then?
Yeah.
What do you want to recommend?
Well, I've been continuing my journey to Hogwarts.
How far are you?
I am now on the 4th movie. Chamber of Secrets?
No, fourth is Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire. Yes.
That's my favorite one.
I will be starting that one soon. Just finished The Prisoner of Azkaban. Azkaban.
This is infuriating to me. I wish I hadn't stopped you and I just let you go off.
Sorry, I'm new. I'm a new Potter guy, okay? I love it.
We got a new Potterhead, y'all.
I thought that third movie, The Prisoner, was... it almost felt like a filler. Like, I felt like the first 2 movies were kind of more epic.
Wow. I have never heard anybody say that before. Genuinely, that is the first time I have ever heard anybody say that Prisoner of Azkaban is a filler in the Harry Potter series.
Well-
because there are so many people who hold that as their favorite Harry Potter book or movie.
I'm not saying that I didn't like it. I thought it was awesome.
No,
I felt like
understand.
you had like the battles at the end of the last two movies. You know, had the snake and all this stuff going on, and this one felt like you were just kind of like being introduced to a little bit more of, you know, the family and like the werewolf side and like, you know, the rat who is, you know,
Spoilers.
working. Yeah, spoiler.
It's
you know,
the book's been out for years.
and
The
all
movie's
that.
been out for 2 decades.
You know, and like that ending, you know, they
Not
kind of do
long,
that
but you know
whole.
what I mean.
Listen, I'm slow to the game of the Hogwarts.
That's not what I'm saying. I was
but
just
if you're
trying to-
listening,
yeah.
I got you. But I felt like the ending of that, there wasn't like really a big battle. It was kind of like they did this whole time travel thing. You know, they went back into time and like he stopped the ghosty guys that, what are they called?
Dementors.
Dementors, yes. So anyway,
This is like, have you ever seen that meme? It's like, I asked my my 4-year-old daughter to name professional wrestlers, and it's just like Sweaty McSweatface, and like everything's
I'm
completely
still
wrong.
wor-
Glitter Man, and then by the end, it's like, Daddy, can we get McDonald's?
I'm still learning everybody's names and all that. So, but anyway, I felt like it was more like a bridge to like, I was like, something bigger is obviously going to be happening.
Yeah.
And I felt like that movie was more of like a filler type deal. Not that I didn't like it. I just felt like it was more of a filler.
I would say that it's, and I the more I think about it, the less I disagree with you. Not that I ever like fully did in the first place, but I would say that it's less filler and more pivot.
Okay.
Like series always kind of have like that pivot episode or pivot movie where like the tone of everything just completely changes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people are so attracted to The Prisoner of Azkaban, because not only does it change the way that we see how Harry views his life and his world, it also changes the way that we see him in general. Because I think this is the movie, and originally, of course, the book, that fully humanizes him. And we lose that the boy who lived title for him, because all of a sudden he has somebody that brings him back down to earth in the form of Sirius, because he's his godfather and he genuinely loves him and cares for him and was best friends with his parents. And all of a sudden this clout and this mystique around the kid who survived Voldemort, it's just stripped away, and it's like, he's a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Like, you can clearly see why he is so full of angst in that movie, and why he has gotten to the point of where he is by then. And I just think it does a great job of redefining who he is as a character, as a person, and kind of gives us something to more fully relate to than anything really throughout the entire series. But in the same way, keeps us going back to these stories.
Yeah.
It keeps us going back to this world and giving us something that is very familiar. I'll talk about something like that in a second, or I guess I can go ahead and talk about it if you want me.
I had one more thing to recommend.
Okay, I'll do a little side. Not really a tips and bits. It's just something I wanted to like address, because I've been thinking about it for a while now. And Lucy and I have been talking about it for a while as well. Neither of us, and this is a hard left turn, by the way, are big fans of Taylor Swift. But we respect the fact that she is doing things like re-recording her albums so that she can regain ownership of them. And she has all the rights to them and everything. But, like, you know, she's re-recording these albums and, like, nothing's really changed except if you, like, listen very, very closely with specific headphones and everything. And, yes, they've got bonus tracks on them that she had never released, and, like, a couple of songs are extended and whatever. But we don't really have that connection with her music that a lot of people do. And I was trying to pinpoint, what is it that makes people so attracted to her music? And what is it that keeps people going back to her music? And I do feel like, and I'm saying this word, I'm saying this phrase, and I'm trying not to say it in a negative way, but a lot of what she sings about, a lot of what she writes about is very simple in the best way, in terms of like easily relatable, right? And a lot of people who are fans of her still, fans of her now, grew up with her music. And so a lot of what they hold on to is based purely on nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
So they don't really like have this connection with what she's singing about now, but because they have that part of their brain that's kind of attached to her music from way back when
they were younger,
they still find value in that, and they still, get excited about her new music and everything. And instead of really like growing with an artist in the way that some people do, it's kind of like a safe space for people in terms of how they, like to function, I guess, and how they like to give themselves the opportunity to not feel so stressed out and everything. And like I said, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan, but in some capacity, I understand why people are. And I do give her a lot of credit for what she's doing with her catalog right now. I think that deserves praise. I think that's very, very awesome that she's just trying to be, her own
T-Swift,
her own manager, basically. But it's, I don't know. That's kind of what I would like. I was relating that same thing, that like there's a relatability that we find in Harry Potter, and the Harry Potter stories, that a lot of people also feel with Taylor Swift music. And so while it's not, Taylor Swift's music is not really for me, I can understand why it is for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and decry the folks who are so attached to it and love
their T-Swift.
Yeah, totally fine. But like, I get why people don't love Harry Potter either. I'm amazed that you are taking the time to like get into it now.
Oh,
because you totally missed it when you were growing up.
I did. I missed it. I don't know, I don't know. It was just one of those things. I think some other stuff was going on. I didn't get a chance to get into it. And then people were, I kind of mentioned it before, people were really aggravating me to get into it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get into it.
I'm not going to do that.
Turds. I'm going to do what I want to. Now I wish I would have, but I plan on watching them all, and I want to go back and read the books. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. Sorry, back to your other tip and bit.
My other one. What was? Oh, I watched Under the Helmet, the Boba Fett documentary.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch it.
It's like 20 minutes. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to do that after you leave.
Getting ready for Boba Fett series coming out, and I watched that, and there was a lot of cool little things about Boba Fett that I didn't know, or that I hadn't thought about in a while. So I won't spoil any of it for you, but I didn't realize, I knew it starts out like telling you like the actual amount of screen time he has in the movie.
Yeah, it's like 4 minutes, isn't it?
It's like 6 minutes and 30 seconds or something. And just how big of a character he became. But it's a really cool documentary if you're a Star Wars fan, or you're getting into The Mandalorian, or you're ready for the Boba Fett series. So I'd recommend that.
Like I said, I'm going to watch it after you leave.
Yeah, it's an easy watch, 20 minutes. It's pretty good. They don't like just drag on anything. They just kind of show you the cool stuff.
Well, let me pull up my list of tips and bits, because I got a few things I've got to run through this week.
He just pulled out a whole roll of paper here. It was like a Santa's list. I'm going to have to pour another drink here.
Yeah, you can have some more of that Knob Creek. That's fine. I'm going to have some of that Knob Creek in a second, too. Daggone that E.H. Taylor.
Oh, my gosh. I don't even want to think about it anymore.
So we watched a bunch of movies recently. I'm going to go from worst to best. Jungle Cruise is awful. I fell asleep in the middle of it, and I could not get into it. I thought it was so boring. Once they got past, so like Jungle Cruise in Disney World, Disneyland, they ride on like the puns.
Right, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. They did that in the first like 10 minutes, and then they never did it again.
What? I figured it would be like throughout, like the thread throughout the movie. Oh,
and like that was a thing that, I wasn't anticipating it to be like super, super constant, but at least like sprinkle it in here and there. Because I mean, that's the crux of it. It's this goofy, weird, experience at Disney World. And it just was it was so glossed over.
They've even
was
changed some of
awful.
that ride.
Have they?
They took some of the stuff out
It's a
last
bummer.
time. Yeah.
So if you like The Rock, you're probably going to like this. Emily Blunt was fantastic in it. Emily Blunt was really good in it, but I just did not care. I thought it was just an awful movie. Watch the 2 Marvel movies that are on streaming right now, Shang-Chi and Black Widow.
Oh, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is incredible. It is one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I will say, though, I like Black Widow more. I think Black Widow, it was like the... But I feel like it was the movie that I had been waiting for with the MCU for years. And it delivered. And it just was like proof. It was like a proof of concept that a female James Bond, a female spy movie could work extremely, extremely well. And it did. I'm not saying that, now we have to all have like a Jane Bond movie. But it is proof that, when you do kind of step a little bit outside of what is the norm, it works really, really well.
I think I would have enjoyed that a lot more if it would have came out when it was supposed to. But at this point, I just kept watching that movie and thinking, this is so dated right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was my main quarrel about it.
Florence Pugh is amazing.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
She is so good in that movie. David Harbour, as always, is just incredible. I've never seen him in anything where I haven't been like, you are the star of your life. Like, everything that you do is your story. Yeah. Like, there is no secondary character in it. I just love that guy so much. But Shang-Chi, holy crap. I think I have more to say about Shang-Chi than I do Black Widow, just in terms of like the lore behind it and how it just kind of takes the time to like tie into the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe and just makes it feel bigger than I think it actually is at times. And I will say too, it's done a better job. Okay, maybe I do like Shang-Chi better. But it did a much better job than Black Widow did of trying to make us feel at least a little bit sympathetic for the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was something that was so... It's been a problem with Marvel movies since their inception. Oh, they got the same powers. Oh, they got the same equipment. That's the bad version of them.
Right.
That's been consistent like since the beginning. There have been a few little spots here and there where it's not been exactly that.
I'm just so glad that they didn't try to like add a bunch of like extra like characters, like make a Hulk appearance or make some big Avenger appearance. I thought that it was perfect. Now there was plenty of opportunity for that.
Yeah.
But I think they did a great job on keeping it its own story and its own self.
Well, and I think that it did a fantastic job of making people interested in who this character is and allowing them the chance to get attached before he moves into the next Avengers movie.
Right.
Because, essentially that's what it is. He's going to be in Avengers 5.
This was if Marvel took all my favorite stuff and put it into one. Like they put Kung Fu, Fast and the Furious, Dragon Ball Z, fantasy, and they just made a Marvel movie out of it.
And that's
what it is.
And this is proof that in the right hands, a Dragon Ball Z movie could be done spectacularly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go through those real quick. I've got a couple others, but I'm going to save them just because I think I've been enough of a nerd this week.
Well,
let me check my list first.
I was going to say, by the time we record again next week, you will get my full, unedited response on the live action Cowboy Bebop.
I will also do the same
because it's.
Have you started it?
I haven't. I'm waiting.
Okay.
I got to just watch it straight through without interruptions as much as I can. So we'll see how I feel. You may know how I feel by the time the episode just starts next week.
I'm very, very excited to hear it. I think we should just put out a bonus episode of us reviewing it.
I could do a whole episode on anime live action adaptations.
Yeah.
And
We'll work on-
people
we'll work
would
on
be
it.
like, "What the hell?" Is this?
Also, I just realized this. We haven't addressed it at all, but this is the Thanksgiving episode.
It is.
So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Tips and bits for Thanksgiving. It's not that big a deal. You don't have to bring it up at the table with everybody. Just let everybody have a good time.
Yes. Have a good time. Eat some good food.
Do you see how I directed that at everybody and not just one person? Just forget about it for a little while. Just allow yourselves. This has been a strange year. Last year was a hard year. I feel like this has just been a strange one, you know?
Yeah.
So allow everybody to enjoy their company and just talk about it another time.
Enjoy the food. Enjoy the drinks. Have a good holiday,
This is-
everybody.
and also, the word "it" in that sentence is just an umbrella term
Yeah.
for everything. So, anyway, I think that does it for this
I think
week.
that's it, man.
I'm not sure what our recording schedule is going to look like next. This is not a conversation for me to have on the podcast with you. We'll figure it out
We'll
later.
figure it out.
Yeah. That's it though. It's been a good week.
It has.
Eric, do you want to do some wrap up stuff?
Yeah.
How much of my wrap up can you do? I'm curious.
If you want to follow us, you can follow me at Whiskey Mutant on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. You got to search for me on YouTube. I don't have enough subscribers to make my actual YouTube name. Either way, at Whiskey Mutant, all the pairings. If you want to follow the show, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, My Bourbon Pod. Is that right?
That's
At My
right.
Bourbon Pod.
That's right. Yeah.
If you want to follow Perry, he's P. Ritter. He was going to change it to 1792. I don't think he's done that yet.
I'm going to do that today.
So by the time this is recording, you can follow Perry at P. Ritter 1792 on Instagram. Is that going to be Twitter as well? No,
Everything.
Everything.
Every
Everything.
place that I have a personal account, that's going to be changed.
Go find us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You'll get bonus content and episodes and craziness, whatever we're doing there. And you can leave us a 5-star review on all your podcast apps that lets you do that. And I think Perry said we have one, right?
We do have a new 5-star rating review. This is from Slith66.
Ooh.
SLYTH. I know who this is.
Oh.
It's Clifton.
Oh.
Long-time listener, 5 stars. Have been listening to This Is My Bourbon podcast for years now, and I can't believe I've never left a review. Perry and his co-hosts never fail to not only keep me up to date with the latest bourbon news and reviews, but entertained week to week. No matter who the guest is, Perry has a way of making such natural and engaging conversations that keep me hooked. Timbip is one of the best whiskey podcasts, and I look forward to listening for years to come. Thank you, Clifton. Also, go check out Clifton's new podcast.
I mean, he's podcasting, he's streaming, he's
the
all
Bourbon
over the
Bites
place.
podcast is so good. I really, really love it. Like, the first episode came out, and I was like texting Clifton about it, saying like a couple of like bits of criticism. But I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. This is awesome. I just love it so much.
Does he do like what he been playing today?
Kind of.
Does he?
Yeah.
I need to listen. Sorry, Cliff, I haven't listened yet.
Episode 5, he had Brandon on, and they were talking about Call of Duty, but he wrapped up their conversation about Call of Duty by asking him what he had been drinking recently. And he goes, I know I'm kind of stealing a page out of Perry's book right here, but I thought it genuinely made me laugh.
Hey, he gave you the credit.
So, yeah, I'll take it. Also, bourbonshop.threadless.com, apparel and merchandise. 859-428-8253 is our barrel rings line. Listen to a voicemail from you here on the podcast. This is my bourbon shop at gmail.com. Send us questions or comments. And that does it. You already said the Patreon thing.
I did.
Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast.
Get on it.
That does it for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Thanksgiving, baby.
It's Thanksgiving tomorrow. Go drink some turkey and eat some turkey. I gotta get some rare breed for next week. That's always
It's even hard to find around here now. Mother.
That's always my like go-to for Thanksgiving though, is bottle of 101 and a bottle of rare breed.
Normally
So-
it's the newest master's keep for me, but
Ooh, I'll bring some Revival because that means it's like a wine finish. That'll go great with turkey.
oh yeah. There
Got
you
it.
go.
I'm good. I'm good now. But that does it. Next week, I don't know what. We'll figure it out. Until then, though, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, we'll see you real soon. But until then, I'm Perry.
I'm Eric. I'm going to come back next week to bring you the good news.
Okay, maybe not. But this is my bourbon podcast.
I'm Eric.
You already said that.
I know. I had to say it normal.
Fine, this is my bourbon podcast.
That's too good.